A recent string of aviation incidents at the beginning of this year has left flyers worrying over the safety of the nation's airspace. There have been a couple high-profile aviation incidents so far in 2025, including a Delta Airlines regional jet carrying 80 people that crashed and flipped in Toronto in February, but thankfully was not fatal. The most haunting crash of this year occurred in January, a mid-air collision between an American Airlines regional jet and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C., which left no survivors.
As I said earlier, they don't seem to be related. Mid-air collision like we had at National, is a lot different than the aircraft in Korea landing on its belly and then colliding with something at the end of the runway or past the end of the runway, I should say.
The Federal Aviation Association is experiencing workforce slashes under the Trump administration, with around 400 workers being cut, including those in charge of creating air navigation maps used by air traffic controllers. Given the timing of these firings, experts are worried about the impact it may have on aviation safety.
The FAA is responsible for the national airspace system to work for all of its users. And all of a sudden it was, wait a minute, we're not getting these updates. Oh, wait a minute, there are hundreds of updates that go on a regular basis. Updates, incidents, updates, different little pieces that all go together to make this overall system work, the emergent system.
Experts are still asserting that flying is the safest mode of transportation, despite all the recent aviation incidents and crashes. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, the number of crashes in January of this year was actually lower than last year, even though these crashes and incidents are still raising concerns about safety among the public.
People always say, like, oh, driving a car is like just as bad as being in the sky, so I try to keep that in mind, but it's definitely hard when it's on the forefront of the news, all of the different crashes, especially when it's in our backyard report.
The cause of many of these airline collisions and mishaps are still being investigated by authorities. I'm Christina Stasis from DC Dispatch.